Hi guys, I thought I would do kind of a cook with me tonight, and I'm going to show you what I'm making. This is called Looking for Mr. Goodbarley. It is a soup. It's just kind of like a beef and barley soup. It's real simple and easy to put together, and it comes out of this book, Crazy Plates. I found this at one of my favorite thrift stores a while back. It's by Janet and Greta Podleski. And it's a real fun little book. They try to make things, low-fat food so good you'll swear it's bad for you. So it's like lightened fare. This soup is going to be like, I think it's 203 calories per serving, 4.9 grams of fat. All right, and somebody wrote 4 points in here, so I'm not quite sure which program they were doing. Obviously, they were doing Weight Watchers when they owned this book, so I'll have to put it in and see what I get these days now. But anyway, let's go over the ingredients really quick. So I have, they're saying 1 to 1.5 pounds of stewing beef. I'm just going to be using ground beef tonight. I'm not using stewing beef. That will take me longer to cook this soup, and I want it to cook fairly quickly. A cup of celery chopped, and I put in more celery and carrots because I like just having a little bit more veggies in my soup, and a cup of carrots as well, a cup of chopped onion, so a cup, and they want you to use 1 clove of chopped garlic, minced garlic, but I love garlic, so I'm using like 4. That's me though. Okay, 1 can of tomato sauce. I'm going to be using some barley, pearl barley, 2/3 cup, and I'm going to be using some out of there. Now they say to use 7 cups of water and 4 teaspoons of beef bouillon powder, but instead of that, I'm just going to use 7 cups of beef broth. I like that better, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And then what do we have over here? We've got some spices. Now, I had to make some substitutions here. They want 1 to 1.5 teaspoons of dried marjoram. I don't have marjoram. I don't know why, but I'm going to be using some herbs de Provence because there's marjoram in there. And then 3/4 teaspoons of dried thyme. I do have that, thank goodness. And then 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, salt to taste. And they want you to use 1/3 cup of chopped fresh parsley for the end, just to stir it in the end. I didn't buy any parsley. So I've got dried parsley. I'm going to probably use like 2 tablespoons of dried parsley, and I'm going to cook this in the soup when it's cooking, so that way the flavor can go throughout. Okay, so that's what I'm using. It's very simple, and let's get started. I'm going to brown the meat. I just put my favorite pot on the stove, so I'm going to brown the meat in just a minute. I am going to cut up all the yuckies off of these celeries and carrots because I don't like, you know what, I need to wash those too. I'm going to set those aside so I can wash those. I always cut the ends off, and you know what's funny is the stuff that we won't eat here in America, that it's not really bad. It's just, we don't like ugly vegetables. All right, I want to take these skins off because the skins look a little bit nasty or something. But whatever happened to that? Is there still a service out there that sells ugly vegetables? I think it's called, what's it called? It's like Ugly Fruit or something like that. I haven't seen them around. I wonder if maybe they went out of business. This little doohickey has been the best peeler. I got it at Sur La Table many years ago, and it's still going strong. It wasn't that expensive, but if you find one online, it's definitely worth getting. I think it's only $4 at Sur La Table online. Do you need to go outside, Misty? All right, I had to let Misty, our little Chiweenie, go outside and go, she wanted to go bark at somebody, I guess. And the other dogs, we have 4 dogs total. They were already outside. So I'm going to cut these celeries up pretty small. Okay, so Sugar Bear almost ran in. Sugar Bear is the latest to join our gang. He is, I just got another light in the mail today, so I thought that I would use it when we do cook with me's. Okay, back to our doggies. How did we end up with 4 dogs? We started out with, some of you might remember Bella. We had Bella. She was part Mastiff, part St. Bernard. And we had her, oh goodness, ever since she was a puppy. I want to say baby because she was just like a little baby. But she was a puppy, and we got her off of Craigslist in town. And our eldest son wanted a big doggy, so we found her. And both of her parents were champion breeds. They had papers, they were wonderful. They were champion show dogs. St. Bernard was the dad, and the mom was Bull Mastiff. And they accidentally got together. They weren't supposed to breed with each other, but they did. So Bella was an oops puppy. So they sold her to us, I want to say a rehoming fee for $50 on Craigslist. And so we went down and got her. Oh, she was absolutely adorable. And we brought her home, and she potty trained perfectly within 2 weeks. But it's because, kind of weird to talk about this while making food, but she had a giardia because there was such a big litter of puppies with her. Even though it was a nice, cleanly kept place, there were so many puppies. They were drinking out of the same, water dishes, and it happens when you have so many puppies sometimes. But anyway, we had to totally handle her with gloves and sanitary, spray, and we had to take her out. It was like an extremely sterile operation to take her out to go potty. And as a result, she was crate trained, fantastically crate trained, perfectly within 2 weeks. So that was great. I'm just gonna bust these cloves of garlic open, and then I'll peel them. It's just easier to do it this way than try to wrestle the paper off without smashing them. Okay, so that was Bella, and she was such a lovey. She just was like the big bear carpet. She loved everybody. She just laid around. And we had her and loved her we got to enjoy her for about 10 years, just over 10 years. And then she went over the Rainbow Bridge, and we said goodbye to her. But before we did, we had adopted Ferris. And Ferris is our border collie mix, I think. And when I first adopted him, he was a Craigslist puppy too. And I think the rehoming fee was a couple $100 or so. But he was supposed to be a girl. We wanted another girl. We thought that they were a little easier to train. And we were used to having a girl with Bella. I'm mincing the garlic. And so we took him home, and I had his records. The woman that we took him from gave me his records, and the records were for a little girl, but he was a boy, which I noticed on the way home. I thought, something looks really odd, and I had to ask my honey, do you think this looks like he's a boy? And he said, yeah, you got yourself a boy. And the woman had told me that she already adopted out all the dogs. So I said, you know what, he was such a cutie. I said, let's just keep him. And so we kept him. Let me open up this onion now. So we kept him, and what we did was we were really we knew that Bella was getting along in age, and we kind of we shouldn't have done this. They say not to have like a transition type dog. And we had him, and inside, I think we were kind of hoping that he would be kind of the dog that helped us to get over the passing of Bella. And I know now that we should not have really done it that way, because he was attached to Bella as well as us. And so when it was time to say goodbye to Bella, it was very hard on Ferris. And so I feel badly about that, and I don't think we would do that again. I didn't know any better really at the time. But, and then Ferris also got a little confused because we had a move at the same time. Oh wow, these onions really get your eyes, don't they? We had a move, so he's kind of a reactive disorder puppy. He's got some issues now, so we love him to pieces though. We just should have been smarter about all that. Give me a second. All right, I am just browning this ground beef, and once that browns, I'm gonna also brown the onions and the carrots and celery, and then add the garlic. All right, so the meat's pretty much browned, and so now I've got basically the mirepoix mix inside with it. So I'm going to just kind of, no garlic in here yet, just onion, celery, and carrots. And I'm just going to kind of toss them about until the vegetables get kind of soft. All right, so next comes Misty. She's our Chiweenie. Now, Calvin, he's our 34-year-old. He had adopted her from the SPCA, but then he ended up getting 2 jobs. So he really couldn't, let me take that off, there's lots of glare. And then, so he would bring her over to my house and he'd say, Mom, can you babysit her for a while? I need to, I don't want to lock her up that long, and she's going to be without me, and, I don't want her to be lonely. So I'd say, yeah, sure, bring her on over. And I just fell in love with her. I thought she was the sweetest thing. And so it just happened more and more. And then one day, he started going, like maybe on trips or something. He'd be gone for like 2 or 3 days. And then eventually he said, I'm wondering, would you like to keep her? And I think he just realized that his life was not conducive to having a sweet little girl depending on him. And I was overjoyed. I said, yes, of course I would love to keep her. So I adopted her, and so he still visits, and he still loves her when he comes over. But I think it worked out better for her. She seemed to be maybe well suited for us. I wanted a little girl dog, so she's just my little sidekick. And so she goes over everywhere with me. And then we have Sugar Bear. Now Sugar Bear, I think I need to add something to this. Hold on a second. Sugar Bear is this cute little senior Chihuahua. Alright guys, I am adding in the garlic, and I'm going to add in the rest of the ingredients right now. The garlic I'm putting in, but I don't want it to overcook, so I'm just going to add the rest of the ingredients right now. Alright, in goes the tomato sauce, and next goes in the beef broth. I might quiet it down a little bit. Yeah, anyhow. Alright, now I'm going to add a little bit more from the next box. Alright, I just added the whole other second box. So my family uses a lot of soup, and we use it as an accompaniment with lunch, with wraps, with sandwiches and things like that the next day. So it's a good filler, it's a low-cal filler, and it's a good way to get in your vegetables. So in goes the barley, and I rinse the barley. I don't know if I'm supposed to, but I know with some grains you should rinse them. With quinoa, if you don't rinse it, it gets a real bitter taste. So I figured it wouldn't hurt since it was going into liquid anyway, so went ahead and rinsed the barley, 2/3 cup, and then put it in here. Now I'm going to grab the spices. All right, and here goes all of the herbs. And again, I'm using 2 tablespoons of dried parsley, not fresh, a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, a 3/4 teaspoon of dried thyme, and instead of 1 1/2 teaspoons of dried marjoram, I have 1 1/2 teaspoons of herbs de Provence, and hopefully that will kind of add the same kind of flavor because it has marjoram in it. And I have marjoram now on my shopping list. I'm not going to add salt until the end, and then I will salt it to taste. So I'm going to put it on medium-high heat, and I'm going to simmer it. Let's simmer it for a 1/2 hour, and then I will check in on it. I'm also going to cover it, but leave it cracked just a bit. All right, so my family is not home yet, so that's why I'm making soup, because they're going to be coming in late. They want to eat just a little bit of something before dinner, and it's going to be light. And you know me, I like a nice light dinner, nothing too heavy. So Sugar Bear, how did we get Sugar Bear? Sugar Bear, we usually take our dogs to like a daycare place when we go out of town, right? And it's like a little hotel for dogs. And so they go there. And one time, now the person that runs this hotel, she takes in strays and she adopts dogs and tries to find homes for them. And she had brought up, she said, you're so great with your dogs. Would you like to adopt Sugar Bear? And I thought, now all of ours they're all potty trained. And Sugar Bear is a senior with no teeth at all, so his little tongue just stays hanging out of his mouth all the time. And it's just the cutest thing. He has problems eating sometimes, and he liked to mark things, right? So he was not really well trained for inside the house. And I'm super particular about that. I mean, I like things clean. I don't want any of that in the house. I don't want them weeing and stuff like that. And but he was just so darn cute. He was just so doggone cute. We just all fell in love with him, and we said, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and we'll take him and we'll work this out somehow. And so now they have a little area whenever we leave that is like a dog area. So it's kind of like a kennel area where they can relax, and their beds are there and their foods are there. They have all that they need. And they don't have the roam of the rest of the house when we're gone. That's not how we do it. But they do have a large enough space that's theirs. And then they go out throughout the day. They like to go outside and roam because it's quite a large yard, and they get grass and all that stuff. And so I bought him some belly bands, and I bought Sugar Bear some diapers, and I thought we're gonna see how we do with this. Diapers, they don't even stay on him. I don't know how people use dog diapers. They just don't really work very well. But the belly bands, their diapers, since he's a boy, I guess it works really well. So they go around his, kind of like his tummy area. And they cover up his little wee-wee area. And so, the back is open, but he doesn't have a problem with, pooping in the house. He just likes to mark, I guess. And so it covers it up. So he knows now when he comes into the house, he wears the belly band. So just in case he feels the urge, it won't happen. And so they are dry weave. You stick them in the washer. They're reusable. They're the cutest little things, and they have, all of these, I don't know, moons and stars and sea creatures and stuff on them. They're really made very well. But he doesn't wet them anymore. He did it first, and now he knows we actually don't want him to do that in the house. So even though we still keep the band on him when he's inside, he doesn't wet it, and he's pretty well trained not to go in the house now. But I did catch him once. He'll go to the back door, And if you don't open it quick enough, he'll be like, well, hey, he didn't open it, so it's your fault if I do something. So I know he still has a little bit of an urge, so he still wears the band inside the house, but he's just so sweet. And he gets along with everybody, and he doesn't take up any space. He's so quiet, very congenial. He has a wonderful personality. They all do, really. Oh shoot, I forgot to tell you about Huckleberry. Huckleberry is our hound dog, and he was before Sugar Bear. So we got him, I was looking at the SPCA site. I don't let myself do that anymore. And because I look at pups and I just want to adopt them all. And I found him on I think it was on, not on SPCA, he was at the Pound, and I saw him, and I just felt like I needed to go see him. So the kids and I went down to see him one day, and he was adoptable that day. And I actually didn't tell Honey I was going, so I was a little nervous about it. I brought him home, and my Honey said, "Who's this?" And I told him, well, this is Huckleberry. Yeah, he was very sweet about it, and he loves him too. Huckleberry is a big hugglebug. He just loves to cuddle in and, just be real lovey. Hey, buddy. Good boy. Yes, you are. Yes, you are, Mr. Huckleberry. What a sweetie. He's got a sweet, loving heart. So that's how we got our 4 dogs. And I kind of feel like, I'm just going to be, if I don't stop myself, this is it. This is it. 4 is enough. This is it. And I am banning myself from looking at the SPCA site. I'm not allowing myself to look at Craigslist or the Pound or anything like that, because I know that we're at the limit. We're full, and if I don't cap it, I could probably be one of those people you see on Instagram with like 30 dogs, and this is like their new job to raise money to feed the dogs. So I don't know. So anyway, that's the story of how we got our little dogs. I'm not a cat person. I love other people's cats in other people's homes, but I really don't want any cats here. It's like too much for me right now. So that's it. The soup is smelling absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to lower it because it is really bubbling, and then I'm going to just keep it on simmer. It's still only been about 15 minutes. All right, it's been cooking for about a half an hour, and you can see I've lost some of the liquid. It's kind of gone down a little bit, but look at the barley. It is cooking, and it is thickening this soup a little bit as well. So this is going to be a really nice hearty soup, and using the ground beef, that cooks relatively quickly instead of having to wait on chunk beef parts. That would have increased the time by about an hour and a half, as opposed to this is a half an hour. I think it could use another 15 minutes. I have put some cornbread in the oven. I'll show you that when that's all done. So let me return this.